What if one scream, one dream, one whisper could sentence you to death? In the winter of 1692, in the Puritan village of Salem, fear took hold. Fear that would burn through families, churches, and the fragile idea of justice. Welcome to our channel, where we bring you the most mesmerizing stories from human history. Join us as we take you back in time to explore the forgotten tales that have shaped our world. But before we delve deeper into this chilling true story, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon, because this is just the beginning. Part 1. The World Before Salem. The late 17th century was an era of religious strife and superstition. In Europe, witch hunts were sweeping through Germany, Scotland, and France. Thousands of women burned at the stake. Across the ocean in the New World, a tiny Puritan settlement was trying to create a God-fearing society. But in their effort to build heaven on earth, they unlocked something closer to hell. Part 2. The Spark in Salem. It began with two young girls, Elizabeth Parris and Abigail Williams. In January 1692, they started having violent fits, screaming, contorting, throwing themselves into firelight. The doctor had no explanation, so he gave them a name, afflicted by witchcraft. The first to be blamed, a Caribbean slave named Tituba. And with that, the chain reaction began. Part 3. The trials begin. Over the following months, mass panic gripped Salem. Neighbors turned on each other. Accusations spread like wildfire. No one was safe. A touch, a look, a dream could end your life. In total, 200 people were accused. 30 found guilty, 19 hanged. One man crushed to death with stones. Part 4. This wasn't just Salem. What happened in Salem wasn't unique. Witch hunts were a global disease, fed by fear, ignorance, and power. From England's Pendle witches executed in 1612 to the Würzburg trials in Germany, where over 900 people were persecuted between 1626 and 1631, humanity seemed obsessed with hunting the invisible. Part 5. Why did this happen? What caused this outbreak of hysteria? Historians point to religious extremism. God was everywhere in Salem. Ministers preached bloody sermons about the devil's spawn. Any misfortune was a sign of Satan's touch. Gender bias. Most accused were women who didn't conform, who spoke out or were disliked. They became easy targets, repressed fears. Life in Salem was harsh. Disease, poverty, war loomed large. Perhaps witchcraft offered a way to explain the inexplicable, even poisoned grain that caused hallucinations. But above all, it was the fear of the unknown, weaponized by those in power. Part 6. The Aftermath and Legacy. The Salem Witch Trials lasted less than a year, but left a stain that never faded. In 1697, judges and ministers confessed they were wrong. In 1957, over 250 years later, the state of Massachusetts formally apologized. And yet we ask, have we truly left hysteria behind? Or have we simply given it new names? Here are some theories that may explain how these innocent people lost their lives to the mob. Theory 1. Ergot poisoning. Some researchers believe that the symptoms experienced by the afflicted girls, as well as others in Salem, may have been caused by ergot poisoning. Ergot is a fungus that can contaminate rye and other grains, leading to hallucinations, convulsions, and even gangrenous growths. This theory is supported by the fact that several people in Salem reported seeing mice in their grain, and a sample of soil from Salem's meeting house tested positive for ergot alkaloids. Additionally, during the trials, several witnesses testified to seeing animals behaving strangely, which could have been a result of widespread ergot poisoning in the animal population as well. Theory 2. Mass psychogenic illness. Another possible explanation for the Salem witch trials is mass psychogenic illness, also known as mass hysteria. This is a condition in which a group of people experience similar physical or psychological symptoms without any underlying medical cause. The symptoms are often triggered by stress or fear and can include anxiety, paralysis, convulsions, and even blindness. In the case of Salem, the fear of witchcraft and the pressure to conform to the community's beliefs may have led to the development of mass hysteria. Theory 3. Social and economic factors. Beyond these medical theories, there were also social and economic factors at play in Salem that may have contributed to the witch trials. For example, the community was deeply divided over land disputes, and accusations of witchcraft provided a way to settle scores and acquire property. Additionally, the strict religious beliefs and rigid social hierarchy of Puritan society created an atmosphere of fear and suspicion, which made it easy for rumors and accusations to spread. As we continue to explore the events of Salem, it's important to keep in mind these different theories and consider how they may have all played a role in this dark chapter of history. While we may never know for sure what caused the Salem witch trials, these theories offer some insight into the complex web of factors that led to the persecution of so many innocent people. To better understand the magnitude of this event, let's take a moment to revisit some of the key moments of the Salem witch trials. January 1692, it all began with strange behavior exhibited by several young girls in Salem village. They started having fits, screaming and thrashing about in ways that couldn't be explained by medical science. As their behavior became more erratic, it became clear that something was wrong. When the local doctor was unable to diagnose the girls, they were accused of being afflicted by witchcraft. Soon, other young people in the community started displaying similar symptoms, and the accusations began to fly. A group of judges and ministers, convinced that there was a real threat of witchcraft in Salem, started holding trials to determine who was responsible. The first person to be accused was a young enslaved woman named Tituba. She confessed to practicing witchcraft and implicated two other women, Sarah Good and Sarah Osborne. With confessions in hand, the authorities wasted no time in moving forward with the trials. Despite a lack of concrete evidence, the three women were quickly found guilty and sentenced to death. But as the trials continued, things started to get out of control. People were accused based on the testimony of the afflicted girls alone, without any physical evidence or confessions. Entire families were torn apart as accusations spread like wildfire throughout the community. By the end of the trials, 20 people had been killed, either by hanging or by refusing to stand trial and choosing death by starvation. Although the trials officially ended in 1693, it wasn't until 1702 that the remaining prisoners were pardoned and released. But perhaps the most haunting legacy of the Salem witch trials is that despite the injustice and hysteria that led to so much suffering and death, many of the accused were never even given a proper burial. Their bodies were left unclaimed, their souls unpardoned. For centuries, their spirits have been said to linger in the streets of Salem, forever seeking justice and closure. So, what lessons can we take away from the Salem witch trials? How can we ensure that such a horrific event never repeats itself? First and foremost, we must remain critical of those in power and question the motives behind their actions. In Salem, the authorities were quick to jump to conclusions and accuse innocent people without considering the full story. We must also remain vigilant against the spread of misinformation and the scapegoating of marginalized groups. In Salem, the afflicted girls were believed without question, even though their accusations were based on fear and hysteria rather than facts. Finally, we must remember that even in the face of fear and uncertainty, compassion and empathy should always prevail. In Salem, the accused were treated as monsters rather than fellow human beings. Their suffering was ignored and their pleas for mercy were disregarded. Let us hope that we have learned from the mistakes of the past and that we will not repeat them in the future. That's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel to join us on our journey through time. And as always, thanks for watching.